What you're actually seeing is like this very familiar toolbook in other countries, which is intimidation over free speech. You cannot like what they said. I don't listen.
Intimidation?
Can I oh.
Well, I mean,
Can we stick to the? Can we stick? No.
I'm asking,
can we stick to the
you
actual?
Can
we stick to the actual?
You see that in other countries?
But so, do you agree with what the president's doing?
Do I agree that he should be mad about this? Yes.
Mad is different.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
I don't know what he's doing. All I've heard is from Democrats who claim that they're now being investigated. I don't know what the truth is, but do I think he should be outraged about it?
Do you think the FBI should be investigating lawmakers?
I don't know. I'm not qualified to tell you whether they have broken any laws or not.
So the Pentagon is threatening to court-martial your home state senator, Mark Kelly. Now the FBI is looking to interview him after he and other lawmakers called for troops to refuse illegal orders. What's your take on what you see happening here?
You know, this is just another attempt at Trump trying to silence anyone who disagrees with him. Senator Kelly was right to inform people of their rights. And the fact that if it is an illegal order, you don't have to follow it.
So the
quick message to everybody on active duty right now in the military. Those 6 Democrats that are urging you over and over again to disobey the lawful orders of the President of the United States, not even a month ago, voted repeatedly, over and over again, over the course of almost 2 months, to keep you from getting paid, to keep food out of your family's mouths, because they saw you as leverage, not people. They do not care about you. Do you understand?
What's going on, everyone? It's Talkscreen here today, and welcome back to the show. As you saw from the intro, we're going to continue talking about the seditious act or the seditious order from these Congress people. Mark Kelly being at the forefront of this because he's using his military credentials to really, I guess, give this thing some type of credibility. And he's hurting his own credibility, in my estimation. As you saw from the intro, the Democrats that are making this stand, they're calling them the Seditious Six. This is this is funny. This is funny, you know. You always got to give a name to people who are doing something. So the Seditious Six can't even name you an illegal order that Donald Trump has ordered the troops to do. No, they're saying, no, just in case in the future. And this is the kind of narratives and arguments that kind of backfired on the Democratic Party. Because what sense does it make for a congressperson to come out, especially a congressperson of an opposing political party of the president, the current commander-in-chief, and make a statement like that, saying that what he's trying to get them to do, like as if what Trump was commanding them to do so far were illegal orders. But when asked to name you one, right, can't name you one. And this is the kind of stuff that hurts the Democrats' brand. I'm just saying that this is not a good look for the Democratic Party. As you see from the segment you're going to see here, it makes perfect sense. And I feel Donald Trump's justified. Now, he may not be justified to say what he said, right? That's what they're pinging him on. But end of the day, who was the first mover? Who was the cause? The Seditious Six. But instead of calling them out, you know, obviously it's politics. I understand politics. You know, you're going to stick up for your people. You're going to stick. But end of the day, as an American, this was unnecessary from the Democrats. But I digress. Let's take a look at the reactions between the two sides.
The idea of dragging back retired military members and court-martialing them, I think people should remember this is actually something Trump has wanted to do in the past. Now that they're actually threatening to do it in this context, what do you think?
I think it's insane. I think it's cuckoo crazy that Donald Trump, you know, I'm so glad that Mark Kelly is a naval aviator and an astronaut because we are living in the twilight zone. I mean, it makes zero sense that Donald Trump would be so triggered by a video of people saying basically, don't break the law, don't do something illegal. I don't know, somebody goes out and does a video, don't, you know, rob a bank.
Don't drink and drive.
This is not something that should be triggering. And his overreaction to this, and then hauling Mark Kelly, who is a patriot, a national hero, naval aviator that flew 39 combat missions in the Gulf War, and for Captain Bone Spurs to be impugning Mark Kelly like this over the stupidest thing, it just makes no sense. And I really think it's a moment that it should be a moment of unity where we all say, you know, God, you're going overboard. I mean, Republican or Democrat, it just makes no damn sense.
Our officers, our enlisted folks, they all know that they are not to engage in activity that could be considered illegal. This was nothing but political gamesmanship on the part of those senators. They weren't helping our enlisted folks in the military. They weren't making them more safe. As a matter of fact, they're probably causing, some unrest and some confusion in the ranks. They answer to the officers and then up the chain to the generals. And folks know what their obligations are. And those all carry downstream. They didn't need a United States senator to tell them that. That was a complete political gamesmanship. And I'm not saying the president's reaction was right. I'm not saying that this investigation should take place. But I'm saying from the get-go, this is bad all the way across the board for.
Let me help Senators lock in out here.
Now, with all the finger pointing going around, I want to ask you a question in the comment section below. Like the video, if you like it so far, has been going so far. I want to ask a question. Who do you think is more at fault for this? The Democrats provocative, gamemanship. We all know this is a political stunt. I know it, you know it, regardless of your political opinion. We all know this is a political stunt by the Democratic Party. As it goes to my guy's point, the military already knows it. They know it better than anyone else what they can and cannot do. So what in what interest is a Democratic congressman telling the military that they can disobey a Republican president other than political gamemanship? Restating things that these people already know. Confusing them, saying, did we obey an illegal order? Did we actually do it? This is the type of confusion they're talking about. Especially if none of the six can outline a specific example of an illegal order being issued by the military that they followed. A lot of the stuff they're complaining about, like the stuff with Venezuela, that's still up in the air. There's no determination on that. And this is the problem that Democrats can't seem to get themselves out of. And now they're going to try to pretend, Democrats are going to try to pretend that Trump is trying to distract from Epstein, the economy, and all this stuff, when they're the ones bringing these issues into the forefront. Make it make sense. Democrats will cry and complain how Donald Trump's not focused on the economy. Donald Trump is avoiding Epstein. But they're the ones who stop talking about Epstein. They're the ones who want to bring up this nonsense, start some drama, and then get mad at how Donald Trump reacted to it and make it an even bigger story. You see the game here? And then complain, we're not focusing on the issues. But if you look at all the dominoes, who was the first to drop? The Democrats putting out this video. And Frank Luntz, who I don't really agree with most of the time, I agree with his sentiment here as someone who's American first, country first, that this is a bad look on the Democratic Party. Because every common sense individual in this country, every American in this country who's not beholden to either party is going to ask you one simple question. Why the hell did you do this video? And based on my estimation for politics, but I digress, let's get into the clip.
I want to ask you about the recent video by Democratic lawmakers urging troops to not obey illegal orders. First, what was your reaction to that? And if you saw any reaction among the cadets at West Point that you work with?
Well, that's politics, and West Point does not do politics, does not do partisanship. My first reaction was, why the hell did you put this video out? I know you're trying to poke at him. Of course you don't obey an illegal order. Of course there are standards and processes that...
And then the left, how they try to gaslight you. As you saw in Anna Navarro, she tried to do this. Oh, you're overreacting, right? And this is the problem with the left. This is the problem with a lot of people who are associated with the Democratic Party, especially on the political thought leadership part. They're the biggest problem. Is that they don't see how they contribute to the very problems that many Americans complain about in our political discourse. And then they're going to be the ones pretending to be self-righteous, like they have, we call it balls and stripes over here. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because the first criticism you should do is say, hey, they should have not done that video. They know how Trump is. Everyone at this point in time in 2025 know how Trump is. You know what you were doing. This is why like you can't, there's no way none of the seditious six can spin this as some type of honorable thing that they're doing for the good of the country, especially if you can't name an order, a specific order that Donald Trump has issued the troops to do that was illegal. Hurting your credibility. Mark Kelly would look like one of the reasonable Democrats. Now he looked like another buffoon out there, one of the many. All to look strong. You pulling a Chuck Schumer. This almost made me think this was worse than Chuck Schumer's debacle at the shutdown. You lose the shutdown narrative. You lose the Epstein narrative. You see how quickly they stopped talking about Epstein when we started bringing up all the Democrats? When they found out that a lot of this stuff is hurting Democrats more than it hurts Republicans, liberal media stopped covering it. The politicians stopped talking about it, especially the Democrat politicians. They stopped talking about it. I wonder why. But before it came out, you couldn't pay these people not to shut up about Epstein. Now look at them. Now they move on to this stuff. It's like it just gets worse and worse, and the year hasn't even ended yet. That's the funny part. But I digress. Let's continue with the video.
Our military has followed not just for decades, but for centuries. That's a given. You're doing this just to create a political issue. And shame on you, because there are men and women who are serving in Japan, in Korea, all over the globe, in the Middle East, in other Asian countries. And this is Thanksgiving. And they're not home. And they're sacrificing for this country. And you're playing politics at this point?
We're going to talk about Thanksgiving, but the reaction from the Pentagon was to investigate Senator Mark Kelly, a 25-year veteran of the Navy, by bringing him back, reactivating him so that he could be court-martialed, pending the investigation, of course.
Why are we doing this? Just stop. There's a word that I've used now, and I've been studying is to try to figure out what that language is.
I understand his sensibilities here, but this is where like the tough part of me starts coming out. Because, Trump could be, we can call Trump to be the bigger person and not, go dive into this, making this a bigger issue than it already is. But at the same time, if you don't give a consequence to this type of behavior, what kind of messaging are you sending out there? What kind of incentive are you setting up for, right? You do something that's politically, like, it could be a disaster if the wrong person or the wrong set of people in the military took it, right? There has to be some type of negative consequence that follows. Because we all know if you do an action and there's no negative ramifications for doing said action, you essentially gave permission for more people to do so. And this is why the liberals are trying to spin this as if, Trump is violating Mark Kelly's First Amendment rights. You're a congressperson. You're a congressperson. He's not a regular like he's not me saying that. You're a congressperson. You're someone in government right now, and you're saying this ish. This is why I as much as you can blame Trump about his reaction, who's the cause? Like, there's one thing I grew up here in my hometown of Miami, is that if you start something, don't get mad how the person decides to finish it. And this is where these people who try to play like they're so centrist and neutral. That's one thing that I hate about their commentary sometimes. They like to hold, both sides are equally responsible. But no. Trump didn't, what did Trump do to provoke Mark Kelly from saying that? He can't name you an illegal order that Donald Trump issued. But he's telling the military, you shouldn't follow illegal orders. Based on what? His own sensibilities. Make it make sense. But I digress. Let's wrap up the video.
And it's very simple. One word. Enough. All caps. Exclamation points. Enough. Enough of the commentary. Enough of the divisiveness. The military is not a political organization. It's not a mouthpiece and should not be dragged into politics. Stop doing this. And it's happening on both sides.
He keeps saying it's happening on both sides, and this is where I get my problem with Frank Lux. On principle, I get it. But look at it from a reality standpoint. Who's bringing the military into this? Was it Trump? No. Trump is exercising the military the way he ran through with his agenda. Hey, I want to make the city safe. Federal troops can help make the city safe. You think the federal troops mind helping out the local police to make the streets of Washington, D.C. safe? No. Hey, we need to deport these foreign people who came and broke our laws. You think the troops will have a problem doing that? No. So what illegal order did Donald Trump issue to cause this reaction from Mark Kelly and the Seditious Six? None. So who's bringing politics? Who's bringing the troops into this? Democrats. From the shutdown, since the shutdown, Democrats, federal workers ain't getting paid, federal troops ain't getting paid. Trump had to go get so a billionaire had to donate to Trump to get those troops paid. But Democrats was voting consistently not to open the government, hurting their pockets. And then the same party is going to come back and lecture them about how you guys shouldn't follow illegal orders, but can't name you one. That's why I'm stuck on. I'm stuck on that. I'm like, wow. But you want to blame both sides. Okay.
You got to cut it out, because that, you asked me at the beginning of this, what is a breaking point? That's a breaking point. Thank God the generals and the admirals and the people who serve us don't play politics. Thank God they keep quiet. That's what's different between this government.
Many of those admirals and generals have been purged by this administration, by this Pentagon. Are you concerned about that and that the new people coming in? We had a caller say, look, the new people are not loyal to the Constitution. They're loyal to President Trump.
That caller doesn't know. And one of the things I've learned is humility, to acknowledge what I don't know.
Hey, and hey, shout out to Frank Lux, man. I know I complain about his commentary, but I agree with that. You don't know what you don't know, right? Humans suck at judging people's intentions. This is why I like to focus on action, right? I give you my speculation, right? As much as I want to judge Mark Kelly, I'm like, I don't know his true intentions, but it seems like, and it's obvious that, you know, on a ground of probabilities, if I had to bet, it was political reasons, obviously, that he did all this stuff. I'm not trying to judge his intentions. I'm looking at his actions. And this is what I'm starting to get tired of in the political discourse. This is why I made my channel, man. Because at the end of the day, we should want a politics where you're running on solutions, not running on problems. And it seems like the Democrats just want to run on problems. And then you want to get mad that the Republicans reacted or responded to the video, and then you try to spread the blame around. That's the only thing I can't stand with Frank Lux. He always try to play this centrist game. End of the day, I'm an American. I have a vested interest in this country. I'm not a neutral party in this, okay? And that's how I carry my commentary. I have an opinion. I have a belief. I have something that I believe the country should run as, because I'm not a neutral participant in this country. I'm actively involved in this country. And I believe many people should be too. All right. But, you know, I digress. I think it was good commentary from Frank Lutz. What do you guys think about this sedition? Do you think Trump overreacted? Do you think the Democrats knew what they were doing, you know, poking Donald Trump and knowing that they will get this kind of reaction from him? I'd like to hear your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. And do you think that are you tired of the political gamemanship of politics currently going on in 2025? And who do you believe is the one most responsible for this gamemanship? You already know my answer. It's the Democratic Party, hands down, and twice on Sunday. They're the ones starting this gamesmanship. They're the ones starting these political games from the shutdown, from the Epstein stuff till now. They're the ones playing politics with these issues. They don't care about no solution. They don't care about release the files. Now the files are released. They don't want to talk about nothing in the files because it hurts them more than it hurts Republicans. After they humiliated themselves with Jasmine Crockett, they're quiet now. This is the Democratic Party, because it seems like the Democratic Party, and I talk about this constantly on this channel, the Democratic Party only stands for one thing: just get in the way of Trump. Just oppose Trump. That's it. That's the only thing they believe in. And all their actions, from the shutdown to the sedition here, all validates that theory that I have in my head. But let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if it feels so inclined. It really does help me on the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.